points does come into line. They started pulling them forward. Wait for that massive dust cloud to come up. Away they go. And we're looking to see who's got the advantage as they come past me for the first time. Goes after him. Tim Bennett was right up there as well in that third spot as they go round that first bend, but it is Phil Pitman and Myles Simmons that have got away. Steve Smith and Keith will go after them down that back straight. Problems again for Craig Cheatham. He slowed down that first straight in an earlier heat, and indeed he looks as if he's hit the same problem again, but the outfit's firing again. To find a gap on the inside and get himself into the front as he goes into that top bend. He indeed finds that gap and gets through and goes down the back straight, but Phil Pitman goes after him. Those two pulling away from the rest of the field. Tim Bennett is in third, it's leading the rest of the field. There's still the scrap going on for this first place. Steve Smith moves a little bit wide, Phil Pitman just follows him. To that third place, but John Hiscock is trying to change that as he goes the long way round, gets himself round the outside of Tim Bennett and up into third place. Tim tries to get it back again, and I think that's going to be a battle to the finish as they come around this pit bend. One more lap to go as we see the last lap flag, but it's Steve Smith and Keith. Still sitting there. I'm sure they would have been hoping for a heat win this time out. Steve Smith just piling on the points, 2 second places already this afternoon, and this is going to be his first heat win. If he can hold it coming off that pit bend, goes towards the line, keeps the power on, he takes second. Bennett and Steve Hargrave fourth, and what a disappointing day for Craig Cheatham and Clive. Oh, you can hear the revs go up and the tapes go, and away we go with this, the first of the semi-finals as they come to the front. Well, as they go into that first turn, Gary Jackson was a long way back, but we know he'll go for that outside line. He'll try and get around a lot of them. He's missed out this time though, and he's back in fifth place, completely filled in by the look of it, desperately trying to find vision. And Steve Steele also is at the back there. He's obviously got the same problem, but as we can see at the front, we've got Tim Bennett semi-final, and they know they've had to go for it. They did go for it, they have, as they go down the back straight, trying to fight off the challenge from Steve Smith and Keith Wall, and into this pit corner. You can see the two outfits together as they go into this bend. Steve Smith and Keith Wall on the inside, it's Tim Bennett on the outside. He tucks back up behind Steve Smith, and you can see the Chris Winterburn trying to come through this top end. So Tim Bennett, after that terrific start, is now being called by the field. As you see, there's problems for Gary Jackson, but he's just content to get a finish, and I think with the overall points he's possibly tried to work it out that he still should qualify for that final, but that we wait to see as we see going into the Robert Chris Winterburn has still got that third place, Tim Bennett back in fourth, and Dave Steele a disappointing fifth place for him in this semi-final. As we see the checkered flag being made ready as Gary Jackson goes past us with not a healthy sounding engine, but I'm not sure whether that's a main or not. As the checkered flag goes, it's Steve Smith who takes the win. Mark Edwards takes second, so some rapid calculations and point scoring to be done to find out who gets into that final. So as we look to Heat 2, Race 6 in your programme, a chance for Steve Smith, Alan Blewett, Mark Edwards, Robbie Wilson, Len Foreman and Duncan Tolhurst to score well in their first ride. programme, Heat 2 of the sidecar competition. Steve Smith had looked to make a good start, but it's Mark Edwards that's come through the middle of them. Lennon Ray Foreman right up there as well in second place. They've got in front of Steve Smith and closed the door on him. He has to brake hard in the middle of the bend, but as they come past me, it's Mark Edwards and Nick Waters that have got away. Lennon Ray Foreman still up there in second. Steve Smith and John Mitton holding third place from Alan Blewett and Barry Metcalf. Well, as we look across the far side, this crew, of course, winners of the Berks Bonanza. Remember, they won the qualifier as well to get their place in the British Masters. And wouldn't it be a sensation if they could come through and take it? Not the best of days they had there at the first round, but of course they did finish overall on points with 20 points, equal fourth place. And they know that there are 6 rides and 6 point scoring rounds here this afternoon, so that could make all the difference. If we look up that far side, we've got Mark Edwards and Nick Waters still holding the lead from Lennon Ray Foreman still in second place. Steve Smith trying to fight for that second place. At the moment has to be content with third. Rides a little bit wider coming out that top bend. They should possibly put him a bit quicker into this bottom bend. Well, he knows that Lennon Ray have been drifting out in the middle of this bend, so we'll perhaps be looking for an attack up that back straight. But at the moment, Lennon Ray Foreman going well and holding that second spot. Well, it's going to be the checkered flag this time as they come round, so it's going to be just the start to the day that Mark Edwards and Nick Waters would have wanted. They cross the line and take a race win. Lennon Ray Foreman get a second place. Steve Smith and John Mitton get third. Alan Blewett and Barry Metcalf finishing in fourth place.
Steve Smith, Rod Winterburn, Mark Edwards and John Halsey. And yet again, another crucial sidecar race. I know you want to come in and comment on this one.
Well, I do, Ryan, but I think you've been an absolute cracker this time. If you can believe my scribble here, if we look at their overall points now, we've got Gary Jackson with that low score there, moved on to 38 points. Phil Pitman and Myles Simmons are on 38 points, equal to them. Roger Meeser has moved up to 35 points. But with this ride to go, Mark Edwards and John Halsey, they are on 34 and 32 points. But if you look at that race, yes, you have got a cracker because...
Steve Smith, an absolute superb start, but up the inside comes Edwards, and Mark Edwards leads, and we're looking for Halsey, but it's Wilson on the outside, Smithy on the inside, and Steve Smith and Edwards absolutely side by side. Smithy, Mark Edwards, Wilson, where's Halsey? He's fourth. They go into the bottom turn and a pocket handkerchief will cover the lot. Steve Smith leads with John Mitton on the back. Mark Edwards in second. We're looking for John Halsey goes out. And disaster for John Halsey. This was the one he had to win, and he's at the back of the field at the moment. Steve Smith from Mark Edwards, John Wilson. And the Winterburns in fifth, and John Halsey at the back.
Got his name.
Well, this one really has put the cat amongst the pigeons. Steve Smith and John Mitton lead from Mark Edwards, still there in second place. As they go into the top turn, John Halsey trying to make up ground, but there's no way he's going to go back on turn. So Smith leading. Edwards in second, Dave Steer, but as they go up the back straight for the last time, Mark Edwards is the man we're watching. I think the points he'll get from this may take him to the front. Mark Edwards and Nick Waters in second, but it's Steve Smith and John Mitton who are going to win it. Off the bend, Steve Smith and John Mitton win. In second place, Mark Edwards and Nick Waters. In third place, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Very close for fourth and fifth. We'll leave that up to the lap scores. And a disastrous ride there for John Halsey and Jason Glennie. Whatever happened on that paddock turn, that last place really has, I think, put an end to the chances of being the 1995 Masters. Smithy with that distinctive yellow nose cone goes to the front. Steve leads, Pitman on the outside, the right's in third as they go into the top turn, and Steve Smith leads. John Mitton in the chair, but look at Phil Pitman, he's right on Steve's tail. Smithy leads, Pitman second, right's in third. In fourth place, number 17, Dave Steer, Botts as they go round the bottom turn with one missing. I'm not sure who it is at the moment. I think it's Alan Blewett that's missing. Duncan Tollist. Right, Duncan Tollist is missing. Right, we look to our right and we see Steve Smith and John Mitton leading the field as they come off the turn for the second time. Still there, hot on the heels. Phil Pitman, but look at the right. Gary and Steve go through on the inside, and the right boys from the East Midlands go up into second, and Phil Pitman desperately needs those points to keep his chances alive. Phil Pitman and Myles Simmons back in third now. Smithy goes 20, 30, 40 metres up as they go into the last lap. Steve Smith and John Mitton lead. The Wright brothers in second, Phil Pitman in third, coming under pressure now from Dave Steer and Andy Orchard, and Alan Blewett at the back, and Dave Steer trying to come through on the inside of Phil Pitman. Doesn't get anywhere, but it's not over yet for third. Phil Pitman trying desperately to hang on to third place as we come off the last bend. It's Steve Smith and John Mitton that win it. Gary and Steve Wright for his second. A tremendous scrap for third. Phil Pitman gets there, Dave Steer fourth, and Alan Blewett fifth. Well, a twist and turn with every race. We thought, well, Phil Pitman within a point of the leader before that race, and Steve Smith has done it again. You can never write Steve Smith off.
Mark Edwards on 42 points at the moment, Roger Meester on 42, he goes in the second one, Phil Pitman goes in the second one, but also Steve Smith going in this first one on 41 points. He knows he's in with a shout once again, which seems absolutely incredible that you think that Steve Smith came to this second round on 16 points only. He was in fact 12 points behind the leader, so he has done incredibly well this afternoon. He's made a good start as they go down that back straight. Rob Winterburn has gone with him as well. Rob Wilson is up in second place, going for the lead though as he goes into that first bend. Mark Edwards is right up there as well, going for second as they come round off that first bend, but he loses out and Rob and Chris Winterburn come through in the second. So Rob Wilson forcing Mark Edwards to go on. There's problems for Mark Edwards. Mark Edwards pulls off into the centre of the circuit. He's hit problems, comes back onto the circuit right at the back of the field. So disaster for Mark Edwards, but Steve Smith on form this afternoon, proving that he's on form, comes round off that top bend in the lead from Rob and Chris Winterburn in second. Rob Wilson, who I said has gone brilliantly this afternoon, working hard in third place, and that battle for fourth place could be an interesting one because Dave Steer at the moment is holding off Gary Jackson and Mick Stace. They of course are leading the competition at the moment. Mark Edwards now back on song, overtakes Gary Jackson to get up into fifth place, so a scrap going on at the back of the field which we perhaps would have expected to be at the front. Steve Smith and John Mitton not worried about what's going on behind them. They lead as they go into the last lap. And again, it sounds as if Gary Jackson's engine has gone sick on him. Up the back straight they go, and it's Rob and Chris Winterburn who've been scoring well this afternoon. Up in second place. They'll be pleased with this result. This could mean a place in the final for them. Rob Wilson and Tony Miles, a great ride for them in third place. But it's Steve Smith who does the best of all. He takes the win. Rob and Chris Winterburn in second. Rob Wilson, Tony Miles finishing in third. Dave Steer has won that battle for fourth place. Mark Edwards back in fifth, and Gary Jackson, last of all, picking up only 1 point in the semi-final.
I'm sure we're going to see all the best sidecar races of all time. The interesting scenario is that just been pointed out to me, with Roger on 49, Steve on 48 and Gary on 46. If Gary Jackson won it, if Steve Smith was second, if Roger Measer was third, there'd be a three-way runoff. That's a possibility. It all depends whether Gary's sorted the motor out, whatever the problem is. If he has sorted it out, Gary Jackson's going to be up there. If he hasn't, well, who knows. But to see Roger Measer on top on 49 and Steve Smith second on 48 after the first round is quite amazing. They both had outstanding days, and the two old campaigners, well, you can never count them out of the frame. They are always there. Interesting to compare their records. Roger Measer was champion, as I said, back in 71. He was Masters champion in 85, in 86 and in 94. He was third at the first round in 82, and he's been in the top six every year since that first event in 92, except for in 82, I should say, except for 92 when he was injured. And as well as being the champion 3 times, he of course has been runner-up 6 times. Steve Smith's record in the sport, second to none. He was 1973 champion. He was 1978 champion at Evesham. I'm sure everybody remembers that meeting. In 1980, he did the unique double, the only man ever to do the 500 and 1000 sidecar double championship winning. He won the Masters in 83, he won it in 90, the last time Severn Valley won it, with that never to be forgotten final, coming from the back to win. Today, John Mitton in the chair. John rode with him in 88 and 89, they were fourth in both of those together, and Steve, I'm sure, will be out there, and well, he'll want to do it for Keith, he really will. And as they go in the first turn, it's Measer, Roger Measer gets there, and Steve Smith is right at the back. But they're absolutely side by side off the bend, and through comes Pitman, Measer, Gary Jackson. And Pitman battling away, and Gary Jackson's there as well, but here comes Mark Edwards. Smithy looks out of it at the moment. Smithy's back in fifth. Gary Jackson, a tremendous run into the top turn. A pocket handkerchief covers the first 5. It's Measer, it's Pitman, it's Mark Edwards, it's Smithy, and John Mitton's gone. John Mitton has gone, and Smithy is out of it, and John's on the track. I don't know whether they realise John is on the track. We surely must have a red flag. Yes, we do. And John Mitton has gone.
Down at the other bend.
So the red flag is out. And, well, there will be a rerun.
This, the drivers are Terry Phillips, Andy Norrish, Ivan Matthews, John Hiscock, Steve Smith, and Phil Pitman. This is quite an outing. starter to the season, all that hassle about traction control. Let's see if Ivan Matthews on the Australian style two-way outfit can close up on Steve Smith. Smith, remember, already won the Masters twice, sitting in a handy fourth place. Well at the moment and looking to be a real force, I think, in the final round of the Masters. So it's still Steve Smith from Ivan Matthews in that.
Oh, there's a beer bar.
Race 19 coming up. Steve Smith goes in this one. He has one earlier win to his credit here this afternoon, so he'll be very keen to win another one. Craig Cheetham goes. Craig had problems earlier on. Adrian Davis, Bennett, John Mitton, Andy Nourish, those are the other drivers. That looks like Tim Bennett making a good start there. Indeed, it's Tim Bennett that's right alongside him, Andy Nourish. And of course, the passenger of Andy Nourish is Eddie Elvis, who's done such a tremendous job on the circuit here this afternoon. Look at Steve Smith, just almost without working, and he's just easing his way round the outside. Andy Nourish in third. Steve Smith watching the action. Very, very close look at Steve Smith, and he's done it again. Well, it's almost seems to be when he wants to go, he just turns up the power just a little bit, eases his way through. But if he's not careful, he's going to lose that third spot. Steve Smith in third. And Steve Smith's really having a battle there, because Craig Cheetham is going to ace it over on the far side. I'll give you the rest of those later on. So then. Steve Smith on the outside, closing in behind Ivan Matthews, and it's Ivan Matthews who gets the lead. Rob Wilson in second place, Steve Smith in third. And Ivan Matthews eases his way into the lead, so it's Ivan Matthews with the advantage as they go up the hill. Rob Wilson in second place, Steve Smith in third. Very much under control because Rob Wilson and Tony Miles are back a little way, but Steve Smith certainly looking to make a change in the position. Steve Smith trying hard to close up on the second spot. Doesn't quite make it as they go up the hill. There's Ivan Matthews there. And in fourth place, Thomas.
Mick Stace opening up a bit of a lead, but Dave Steer is the outfit looking for that challenge. Roger Mitton desperately trying to get back into that second spot. Royce Bradbury and Steve Pitman in fourth place at the moment. They look to be closing on Roger Mitton and Shane Lapham as well. But as we look to the far side, this does look a terrific start for the day for Steve Smith and Mick Stace. They slide that outfit into this bottom corner, looking absolutely terrific at the moment as they go into their last lap for the first outing, leading exactly as they wanted to. Dave Steer and Andy Orchard still in that second place, and quite really is in third spot. Bradbury getting closer all the time to Roger Mitton and Shane Lapham. He really doesn't look happy with this surface at all at the moment, and Royce Bradbury goes through into third place. Those two outfits together as they go into this bottom bend, but as we see the checkered flag, the first time for the sidecars, it's a win for outfit number one. That's Steve Smith and Mick Stace. Dave Steer and Andy Orchard finished in second spot. Speed. Mick Stace. Terrific ride this at the moment for Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. They still lead, but watch for that third place. Steve Smith has now found a way through on the inside of Mick Cave. There's no way through. As he goes into this top end. Just one more corner to negotiate, and Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones looking in terrific form this afternoon. The only outfit to get two rides and two wins. They take the checkered flag. Dave Steer gets another second place, Mick Cave hangs on to that third spot, and Steve Smith back in so many outfits, not scoring consistently, I think is the thing I'll say. As we look to Heat 20, and what a lineup. We've got Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones, two rides and two wins. They're joined by Steve Smith, Rob Wilson and Phil Pitman, all who've had wins, and then followed it with fourth places. Into that second place as they go into this bottom bend. Rob Wilson trying to work his way through. Still Royce Bradbury's got that second spot. Steve Smith on the outside of him there. Rob Wilson on the inside. Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. Second place. Steve Smith trying to work his way through. He's got third and now he's looking for that second place. Rob Wilson closing again. Phil Pitman pushing Rob Wilson along as well. Around past me for the second time, and Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones looking to make it 3 rides and 3 wins. That's at the back of the field. Phil Pitman's done it all through now. Rob Wilson up into fourth place, but it's a terrific scrap for that second, third and fourth place. Royce Bradbury and Steve Kitchener still got that second at the moment, but Steve Smith never letting them get away. In
into the last lap they go, and as Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones pull away, it's going to be this battle for second place, and it's going to be perhaps a bit more interesting as we go into this top end. Steve Smith still desperately trying to get that second. Royce February goes a little bit wide. Steve Smith not being able to capitalise on it on that top bend. As he goes into the pit bend, he looks perhaps lined up to go for a tight exit of this bottom bend. It's not going to be. Ivor Matthews takes the win. Royce February takes second. Steve Smith in third. Phil Pitman in fourth. And Rob Wilson in fifth. As we transfer those points scored into the overall points chart, as I mentioned, as we go into race 27, it's all going to get very, very interesting to see exactly who it is that makes that big A final. Away we go, and they're already up past me for the first lap of race 27. Steve Smith is off for that first bend in first place. Realise that he needs to score well in this last ride. The marshal's putting out a red flag after we've had Rob and Chris Winterburn spin round on that first corner. That second spot, so a terrific first bend for them, and at the moment Tim Bennett right at the back of the field. Number one, Steve Smith and Mick Stace, you had a good ride in this last ride, third place in the final. Between them and second place, Chris Winterburn. Mick Cave and Dean Bartholomew in third place at the moment. Could do with getting up into second to make sure of a place in that final. And Mark Edwards and Nick Walters know that they need to do a lot better than this fourth place to stand a chance of getting into that final. Mark Edwards moving through as Mick Cave has made a mistake on that top end. He pulls off into the centre again, rejoins the circuit at the back of the field, and now Tim Bennett is starting to get going again. He's up into fourth place as we go into the last lap. Steve Smith and Mick Stace doing exactly what they needed to do in this last ride. Robert Chris Winterburn up in second. Mark Edwards in third place at the moment, in second. Tim Bennett still there in fourth place. As we look to this bottom corner for the last time in this heat, it's Steve Smith and Mick Stace that are, well, if they hit problems, they're certainly slowing on that bottom bend. They're going to make it to the line, but only just to get the win. Robert Chris Winterburn have sensed something has gone wrong, but they just cross the line in second as Mark Edwards and Nick Walters get that third place, and we wonder, is that enough to get them into the final? in front and indeed already started to open the gaps up. And as Dave Steer comes back onto the circuit, Ivor Matthews sees him now and goes round the outside of him. The rest of the field also goes. Steve Smith goes on the inside. And Dave Steer with all sorts of problems on that top end. Slows going down the back straight. But Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones have looked in tremendous form this afternoon, and they really have stamped their authority on this event. They won it back in 1993, and it's going to take a lot to catch them in this sort of form. It's Steve Smith that's taking the challenge. He's up in second place. Ivor Matthews slowly on that top end. He's certainly slowed in the middle of the event, but he's got the power back on going down the back straight. A great scrap going on for third place at the moment. Remember, it's the top three that we get up there on the rostrum at the end of the day. Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones still leading in from Steve Smith and Mick Stace in second. John Hiscock has now moved through into third place. He got a second last year. Really get there
have a go at him as well for that third place. But as we look to the lead, it's still Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. We know that the outfit they ride is suited to this circuit, and he's proving yet again that it's design and machinery to driver and passenger winning combination. As they go down that back straight into this bottom corner, they're going to be seeing the last lap flag this time. Just one more lap to complete, and the 1995 Burn-up becomes theirs. He's certainly slowed again, but Steve Smith has got a lot of work to do to try and close that gap. Well, Phil Pitman has won that battle for third place at the moment. There's scrap going on for that third place. He's been slowing in the race, and indeed he's slow from that back straight, and as the rest of the field go by him, yet again, tragedy for Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones is coming round off the bottom corner. It's Steve Smith and Mick Stace. They take the 1995 Burn-up. Phil Pitman takes second place, and John Hiscock gets on the rostrum in third place. Once again, bitter disappointment for Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones here at the boarding circuit. I'm sure a lot of you will remember that incredible Masters final they had here. And to repeat it again on the 5th lap of the Burn-up final. How can you put words into that to sum it up? He's been absolutely dominating the sidecar class this afternoon, and then to be hit with mechanical problems. What a tragedy, but we can't take it away from Steve Smith. He's ridden brilliantly as well this afternoon. The standing passenger Mick Stace, he's taken the 1995 Burn-up. Indeed, that makes it 3 Burn-up victories overall. He won it in 1989, he won it in 1990, and he's now won it in 1995.
Well, of course, we've got second and third. I've only just got one more crew who get up here. And of course, I want a very big round of applause and a big amount of cheering and shouting because they've been up here before. Steve Smith won it in 89, he won it in 1990. Now the winners of the 1995 Burn-up are Steve Smith and Mick Stace. Shy Mick Stace. So they get me organised here. They said you got to have the photographs taken before we have a word with you. Yeah, the most important bit, Steve, the check's in the top. You can see who does all the organising, can't you? It's the man with the camera let, you see. Well, that's the photographs taken. Obviously now we've got to try and get a word with this man, but Steve, the obvious thing is that it wasn't consistent today. So was it a win, then a fourth? What was actually going on?
Yeah, we were pretty inconsistent today. It's the first time I've been up on a rostrum for about 2 years. I don't know really what to say. It makes a change, I know that. It's bloody great. I tell you what, it's great. Rob experienced it last week and he knows what it's like now. Why were we inconsistent? I'm not sure. When we can, perhaps I'm getting too long to fight from the back now. When I get out in front, fine, everything's good. I normally say a lot on the mic. I don't particularly want to say a lot today, other than there's two
people here I'd like to dedicate this win to. One is Keith Wall, my passenger, who suffered serious injuries earlier this year, and he's here today, and thanks very much, Keith, thanks for your support. And my wife and my family for 2 years of wilderness and trying times, and hopefully we're going to put that right now, but thanks very much indeed.
Well done, Steve, and indeed obviously what I'm going to try and do is get a word with this very reluctant Mick Stace, because Mick, you have been up here before, haven't you? And of course, you know, you should now be used to actually saying a few words. From your point of view, how did that final go?
It was good. We had a little bit of luck, but we was there to take advantage, so...
And have you enjoyed passengering, stepping in at the last moment to help Steve out?
Yeah, it's been a very good experience.
I think you must be becoming one of the most experienced passengers about now, aren't you? Well, there are the winners of the 1995 Bonfire Burn-up, Steve Smith and Mick Stace!
Sorted in a minute. This is for next year's programme, remember. Fellas, if we can get everybody together, can you all come down to the front, fellas, and let the crowd see one last time the Bonfire Burn-up winners, the top 3 solos, the top 3 sidecar crews for 1995. Let's hear it for all of them. Well done, fellas. And everybody heads down, here goes the bottles.